by about 10 people. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you can all hear me and see me. Um, so Niels and I today are going to talk about our new upselling tool, which is really exciting. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to sort of walk you through a quick sort of presentation on what that means, what the advantages are, how it can actually help, and then Niels is going to cover that on a sort of a practical level in terms of how you enable that within your RoomRaccoon account, how that then will work, how you set that up, and how that will work in practice. And you should be able to comment and ask us any questions on the side. I can see a message there via the Facebook. So good morning, Gaynor. So yeah, just ask us any questions you might have, and then I'll sort of start walking you through what we mean by our upselling and our sort of cross-selling tool. So yeah, okay. So how it's all really about increasing revenue. That's the purpose, at the very least, via sort of upselling and cross-selling. So what do I mean by that? So in terms of upselling, it's really about directing the customer towards a more expensive or better product. And for most of you, that is going to be about offering the customer the opportunity to upgrade their room type. Or accommodation type, or whatever it might be. So if that customer has booked with you to stay in a standard double room, you will have the opportunity to upsell to them and give them the opportunity to purchase a superior double or a premium or a suite for discounted rates, and serving that, sort of maximizing your return on that booking. On the other side, we have the cross-selling, and that's very much more about selling additional products or services to someone that's already made that initial purchase. So somebody has booked a room with you, and they have the opportunity to purchase add-ons, and that could be anything from a airport shuttle to a bottle of wine to dinner to activities, anything you sell via your system as an upsell. Now, it's great. Some customers will book those, will take those at the point of booking. But for others, there's certainly a psychological advantage to offering them later on in the process, particularly once they've paid down part of the cost, because those things that maybe looked a little bit expensive at the outset suddenly don't look so expensive when they've paid sort of half their reservation or paid for most of their reservation in full. So it's a second opportunity, second bite of the cherry. And why? What's the point? Why does it work? Well, the point is it should make you more money. And why it works is, again, it's part to do with that sort of psychology. The customer, and it is a customer because they've already made the decision to buy something from you. This is about serving them a process after that initial reservation has been made. And that can be shortly thereafter, or it might commonly be sort of shortly before they're due to arrive with you. And sort of Niels will go through the setup and how we can sort of serve customers this via the online check-in, where most of this will take place, and when we serve that to them. But the point is, it works. So our friends over at GuestJoy did a survey or shared some data, and they found it can be as high as sort of 65% of people, when offered an upselling option via this, will make a purchase. Now, look, those purchases can be large or small, but they are additional purchases. And look, the best time to make that enhanced sale is when you're reconfirming the booking, particularly when a payment has been made or the customer's focused on that payment or completing a task. So, for a lot of people, the ideal stage will be to send the pre-arrival email, and you might send that 3 days before they turn up. Give them the opportunity to do the online check-in, which not only that will save you a huge amount of time at check-in, but then serve these options in there in a really cool way. And Niels is going to show you that in a bit. So there's just some analysis, and this was performed by the sort of hospitality expert. They conducted a sort of a survey, or had access to sort of data in terms of, look, what are typical upsells? What are typical upsells? Now, the biggest and the most popular one was a room upgrade. 20%, or certainly 23% by value was room upgrade. So pushing them from your standard room to a superior or to a suite, just making that additional income. And the great thing is as well is if you push them up that value chain, that also often frees up your rooms that you may be able to sell time and time again. We speak to lots of hotels and they have some difficulty maybe shifting their suites or their very expensive rooms, but they sell out their sort of standard, their basic rooms all of the time. And the truth is they could probably sell more of those. So actually, if you can push some people through that value chain, not only do you make more money out of that reservation, you also free up your sort of commodity that you can sell quickly and turn over to sell that again. So it's a double win. The other popular ones, wellness, so spas, massages, whatever that may be, not sort of relevant to everybody perhaps, but particularly sort of restaurant bookings again is a big one, taxis, drinks, all sorts of, and there's some sort of more eclectic and unusual ones in there as well. And then again sort of split that down, and I think what the kind of survey found was that actually, although our peak seasons, and when we're perhaps making more of our money is during our high season, is during our summer, actually the upgrades were often more effective in those quieter months. So can really help add some additional revenue in those sort of quieter months, which was pretty cool, particularly the room upgrade. It was almost double as effective in the winter months than it was in the summer months. So how does it work? And a sort of a few hints and tips. So Niels is going to walk you through the details in RoomRaccoon in a minute, and we'll sort of swap over and share this screen. He'll show you that. But I think the things to remember is really sell the descriptions. You can talk about them as special offers, but ultimately, as with a lot of this stuff, photography is really important. If you are trying to sell somebody a room upgrade, if you are trying to sell somebody an additional service, a dinner in your restaurant, a bottle of wine, whatever it may be, a picture really does paint 1,000 words. We can write great descriptions and imaginative copy, but the pictures, if you've just got a beautiful room, if your suite is beautiful, just put a beautiful picture up, because that's the most effective thing you can do. We also, forgive me, there's a slight break in the translations there, but yeah, we also have that should say magic words, but we also have a whole range of
Adam, it sounds beautiful anyway. It looks beautiful, so it's fine. We will forgive.
I won't try and pronounce it. But I mean, it's just about within those descriptions. These are some of the key words that just sort of drive engagement and drive bookings. The surprise, the romantic, the savings, all of that sort of stuff. Powerful, and we can share this presentation afterwards if anyone would like a copy and to sort of crib some of those. That's absolutely fine. And Niels is going to take you through this, sort of how it looks and how you set it up, and it's just to reinforce that message that, look, if you have bad images, your engagement and your improvements will be less. And that doesn't necessarily, that not everybody has the Ritz or the equivalent in South Africa. What's the finest hotel in South Africa, Niels? But
no, I'm not going to share that because then other customers are going to be angry on me.
But it's obviously, it's one of ours, right? But I mean, it doesn't matter what you're selling, but necessarily just sell it properly. So bad images like these are going to cost you. Great images they're just going to sell better. You're just going to get more engagement and more money. And ultimately, what's the outcome? Well, look, I think happier guests. Everyone loves a bargain. Everyone loves an experience. Extra revenue for you. I mean, even at just €30 or £30 or 300 Rand a day, that's potentially just selling one item in one room on one day, and that those little incremental increases can make a huge improvement. huge improvement. And these tools are just massively going to increase that conversion. You are going to sell more add-ons as a consequence. You are going to sell more high quality rooms. You're going to leverage that RevPAR. And the cool thing is, as Neil will tell you, we're making it available to everyone completely free for the next few months. So what I'm going to do, I am going to hand over to Niels, and I'll remove that, and then Niels, you should be able to share your screen, he says.
Okay, I'm not, as everybody knows, it's a new webinar system we're using, and sorry that I tuned in a little bit later, had some issues with the internet. But thanks everybody for joining, and thanks Adam for the little presentation with some good insights. As we all know, we can just ask some questions on Facebook or via YouTube if you have any questions about what we are showing. And I'm going to show a little bit more in depth on how to set up the upsell. But I think one thing is just very important in this regard is obviously the difficult time we are in at the moment. And I just want to also focus on one of our customers that has implemented a good 50% discount for future bookings where deposits have to be paid to generate some income. And he is very happy with this feature that we have built, because what he have explained is, yes, we have reduced our cost for the rooms to just get some money in. But what we can do now with this upsell feature is increase the RevPAR, so to increase the revenue from that guest by an easy way of upselling and a tour, and a yoga session, or think about riding on the horses, or anything you can do in your area. And what I'm going to focus first on is when we go here to the left top, how to set these add-ons and upsell features up. So the first thing what you have to do is you have to go into the back office via the left corner, and you go to this connectivity sign to activate it. We have sent an email earlier this week to or last week to activate it. So if you check up on that email, there's a direct link to that. And then once it is activated, you can go to the left top to add-ons, and then it will bring you to the following page where you create the add-ons like we always have been able to do. Now, when you click on an add-on, for example, the airport shuttle, which I already prepared, you have a few more options. So you have now short description that can be much longer than previously. But also on the right side, it shows the option for a photo to add. And also what you can do now is select upsell in the online check-in. So this is on a level to upsell for add-ons. But what actually, or what Adam also explained, is the upselling of an upgrade. Now, I explained it in one of my other webinars a few weeks ago that when the first time I flew here to South Africa, I also got an upgrade from KLM. If I paid 300 euros extra, I would go to business class. Now, I didn't do it, but I think a lot of other people that are not a student and want to enjoy a luxurious flight instead of 3,000 euros to a 300 euro increase, I think many people will be more satisfied with what Adam also explained. And that's something what we also try. And Adam is also completely right. Is when you try to upgrade these people, your revenue gets up or increases per customer, but also the cheaper room gets available, which is generally the one that sells the best. So when you go now into a room type, via room types, and click on the specific room type, you can now have an upsell feature. Now, this is the Studio Suites, which is my cheapest room type. But what I have done here is I have connected it with the Deluxe Suite with balcony. And I've said every night it will be an additional 250 rand if you would like to book this room. And then the system will then automatically change this accordingly, which I'm going to show now. So here you can set it up with some nice content, and then it will show the main photo of the other room. Just for 250 rand per night, you can upgrade now to a more luxurious room. Now, when we go now to the calendar, so here in the middle, the way where we view the calendar, I have a few bookings, and the color that reflects on that there is an upsell done or an online check-in is the light blue color. So a few of my examples have already done an online check-in, But I would like to just quickly go to this reservation from Alice, our well-known colleague here in South Africa. And this is just their booking. They have booked a studio suite, so a cheaper room, bed and breakfast, and there is no add-ons booked. So this one has a full potential to do an upsell on. So what the system now can do is obviously send this pre-arrival email a few days before the guest arrives, where the guest can click on online check-in, where they will come to a page. But what we also have is that page included over here. So this online check-in is two functionalities. So online check-in to just get all the information online or prior arrival. That is including in the RoomRaccoon package, and the upsell feature is for our pro users, which we will be given for free for the next couple of months. And that is the same page that can be used. So you can use this for guests that check in on arrival on an iPad, or you can send it a few days before the guest arrives, or both. And then this page will open. And that will be obviously branded to your logo, your colors, etc. And then the guests will see exactly which or the amount of guests that are going to be checking in into this room. Now, Alice is going to be...
Niels, sorry to interrupt you for a second. We just got a couple of questions. Could you just make your screen slightly larger? We're just having a few people having difficulty reading it.
Larger, yes, that is not a problem.
Perfect. So I know you'll have to scroll. Yeah, I think so. That's much better.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't check that yet. But was there any other questions?
No, that's cool. Carry on.
All right. If there is anything else that I have to re-show to make it a bit more clear, I will do that after I've shown this. So if you can let us know, that would be great. But this is then our online check-in form. So first here, the guest can fill in all the information. So Alice de Waal, now let's say she stays at Rose Street and in Cape Town with in country. Oh, sorry, I'm doing there some capital letters. South Africa. No, not south of Sudan. South Africa. I'm going a bit the wrong side over there. She didn't immigrate, Jess, guys, so don't worry. She will still be able to help you. The phone number, now not very applicable, but the guest can now fill in all the information that is applicable to them and that you would like to request. I only selected a few items that I wanted to ask, but you can easily set this up in the documents what you would like to request the guest to fill in. And then when we go a little bit down, here is the option for the upsell. So very nicely shown. Would you like to upgrade to the deluxe suite with a balcony? Exclusive last minute upgrade for the perfect luxurious experience at our hotel. Now you can then add this content. And what I explained is that this is only possible. So when we go, for example, back to the calendar, you will see now there is still a lot of rooms available. Now, Alice had booked the studio suite, and there is still my deluxe suites, which are room 5, 6, 7, and 8, are available. So the system sees now that this deluxe suite is available. So the algorithm knows, okay, we can try to upsell it now, and the guest can select it. Now there's another additional feature that they can, or add-ons that they can book. And let's say Alice likes MCC. So
MCC for Alice.
Yeah, and luckily, or let's hope Friday here in South Africa, we can buy it again. But who doesn't want a bottle of MCC? For the South Africa or for the UK people that are tuning in, MCC is the South African champagne, as explained in here. Come try it once on this side, because I think they are delicious. And then when we scroll a little bit down, it shows an overview of what they have booked and additional things that they have booked, and they can then fill in their signature. And once it is filled in, they do a check-in online. And then once that is all validated and fine, we can go back to the calendar, and then you will see that the booking turns into a light blue color, as well as the booking moved from room 9 to room 8. And when we go to the reservation, you will also see that the additional bottle of MCC has been booked for this. And that is kind of the upgrade functionality that we have at the moment. And this, I'm very excited about, because I used to do this manually at the hotel I was working for, or just put it in an email that was static, so it didn't really take into consideration if there was availability, so it didn't really convert. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show.
That's really cool. I was just going to add to what Niels has said. I know some of our customers in the UK in particular still use sort of the traditional registration forms. So they might print those off and give them to the guest to complete or sign. If you still want to produce those, the really cool thing is when you do the online check-in and the signature and stuff, that will translate directly onto the registration form. So you can just, that'll be completed and you can just run that off. And that'll all be done for you in advance. So it can sort of automate that process, which is pretty handy.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what we really stand for, is making the customer journey as seamless as possible, so guests don't have to fill in things on paper, which makes it also a bit difficult for you to capture the email addresses. But also upselling, it doesn't mean getting or receiving more revenue from your guests, but actually making their stay a more memorable. How do you say this, Adam? What is the right pronunciation?
Memorable.
Memorable. Sorry guys, I'm dyslexic, so sometimes I have to think a bit harder. But that's what I really learned also with my own research that I did for the hotel I worked for, is if you upsell, it doesn't always, or it has not really been seen as generating more revenue from the guests. The guests really experience it as an improvement of their stay with you, and that makes the guest more satisfied. So let me quickly go. Or if I'm going to let you check for questions, Adam, because if I go back to the StreamYard webinar functionality, it will be sharing that screen.
Yeah, I can just remove that from the stream if you want. One sec, and I'll just put our faces up if you'd like. So does anybody have any additional questions? I'm just sort of flowing through the content here. Comments, but not particularly questions. Just give people a second.
I don't see too much either. And also, please let us know if you are happy with this way of sharing, because we have changed from the webinar functionalities now from another one called Webinar Geek now to StreamYard. And for me, it's always a bit nerve-breaking when I have to start with something new, but I think it went all right. It seems like nobody really has any questions.
You've obviously showed them everything they need to know now. So yeah, but look, I think you guys can, I think we sent a message around to everybody, all our existing customers at any rate, talking about this. As we say, look, it's free until August. So we would urge everybody to at least trial it, because hopefully when some slightly more normal booking activity returns to our hotels, it will really help with that sort of recovery just by maximizing the money you're making out of those guys. And if you have any questions, then please feel free to come back to me or Niels, or if you're in South Africa to Alice, or if you're in the UK to Fern or Alessia. And we will do our very best to help you get it all set up.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. And I see one last message came in from Gaynor. Great struggle to see the screen, hoping it will be available to replay through your link. We're going to try, Gaynor. It's new for us, so I don't have the answer now, but I do think there will be a recorded version, and we will be posting it then on our YouTube channel. And we're going to do this more often. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, and thanks for the positive comments. Yeah, fantastic.
And thanks, Chris, for all the compliments. All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a lovely day, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.